Welcome to Book Insider. Today, we're going to talk about The Leader's Mind by Afremow. John always felt a bit lost. His life lacked direction. He worked in a small shop, facing the same monotony day and night. One day, while arranging items in the store, a thought struck him. Will my life always be like this? This question deeply unsettled him. That night, after returning home, he sat quietly in his small room. To avoid distractions, he put his phone on silent. His eyes fell on a dusty pile of books in the corner. He suddenly remembered that a friend had gifted him a book a few months ago. The book was titled The Leader's Mind: How Great Leaders Prepare, Perform, and Prevail by Afremow. Curious, he picked up the book and thought, let's see what's so special about this. As soon as he flipped to the first page, he came across a lesson on mental preparation. Intrigued, he began reading. The book explained that if someone wants to achieve something in life, the first step is to prepare their mind. This involves setting clear goals, visualizing success, and creating strategies to tackle challenges, traits that define an effective leader. John closed the book and asked himself, what are my goals? He stared silently at the ceiling for a while, then slowly started organizing his thoughts. He realized he had always wanted to open his own shop, but had never acted on it. Maybe this can be my first goal, he whispered to himself. He then carefully read the next section of the book. It said that just setting goals isn't enough. Visualizing success in your mind is equally important. Learn to see what you want to achieve in your imagination first, the book advised. John found this concept a bit strange, but decided to give it a try. The next morning, he woke up early, sat in his room, and closed his eyes. He visualized himself running his own shop, talking to customers, seeing neatly arranged items on the shelves, and feeling confident. It felt odd at first, but at the same time, he felt a spark of excitement. From that day on, John spent 10 minutes every morning doing this visualization exercise. He tried to make his imagination more vivid and detailed. Gradually, he started to believe that it might actually be possible. Then he read the third key point in the book, planning. He realized that simply dreaming isn't enough. To achieve his goals, John knew he needed solid planning. He took out his small notebook and started writing down what he needed to do to open his shop. He needed funding, a good location, and most importantly, a clear understanding of what customers wanted. Determined, John decided to do some research. He began observing other stores in his area, paying close attention to customer buying patterns. Slowly, he started to understand which products were in demand. He carefully noted all these details in his notebook. By now, he was feeling more motivated than ever. He shared his plans with his old friend, Ryan, who advised him that if he needed funding, he first had to create a clear business proposal. John recalled that the book had mentioned the importance of being prepared for challenges. The following week, he reviewed his savings. He realized he had enough money to open a small shop, but it wasn't enough for the dream store he had envisioned. He thought, maybe I need to work a little longer and save more money. However, during this process, he noticed something. His mornings no longer felt dull. Every day at work, he saw it as a learning phase. He engaged with customers, trying to understand their preferences, and at the end of each day, he wrote his observations in his notebook. The book's impact on his mindset was becoming clear. He now analyzed everything like a leader. The things that once seemed impossible now felt achievable. But then came the real challenge. One day, his boss suddenly announced that the shop would close in 3 months. Panic set in. What now? What will I do? But then, he remembered a line from the book. By mentally rehearsing scenarios and outcomes, leaders can boost their confidence and maintain focus. He took a deep breath and thought, maybe this is my chance. Maybe now is the right time to open my own shop. He created a detailed 3-month plan. First, he minimized expenses and focused on maximizing his savings. Every morning, he practiced visualization and then worked on his action plan. He started looking for empty shop spaces in his area. He found one at a reasonable rent, but he still didn't have enough money. Gathering his courage, he reached out to relatives for financial help. At first, people didn't take him seriously. One cousin even said, "You think you can run a shop? That's not for you." But John wasn't the same person anymore. He confidently explained his vision and his plans. Slowly, things started to fall into place. He managed to pay the shop rent and arrange the remaining funds. The day he held the keys to his shop, he couldn't believe it was real. That night, as he sat in his room, he picked up the book again. He realized he wasn't just building a business, he was building confidence and focus. But this was just the beginning. He knew bigger challenges lay ahead. John dedicated himself completely to running the store. Every morning, he practiced the visualization techniques from the book. It had become a habit. His entire energy went into organizing the store, attracting customers, and managing inventory. He would come home exhausted, but there was a sense of satisfaction. But life is never that easy. A few months after opening, he faced his first major setback. As the festive season ended, customer footfall dropped suddenly. The sales that once seemed great were now cut in half. His income was declining, but expenses remained the same. One day, as he sat idly in his store, his eyes fell on the book again. He picked it up and turned to a new chapter, Embrace Resilience. The chapter explained that setbacks and challenges are a part of life. But true leaders show resilience. They adapt and push forward. John closed the book for a moment and asked himself, "Am I truly resilient? Can I overcome this challenge?" He realized that, yes, things were tough, but now was not the time to give up. The book had taught him that resilience wasn't just about staying motivated, it was about actively seeking solutions. John thought, if customers are decreasing, I need to do something new for my shop. He tried to understand the root cause of his problem. The first thing he did was talk to his customers. He asked them what more they needed or how their shopping preferences had changed. Through this process, he realized that after the festive season, people tend to avoid big expenses and focus more on affordable essential items. Without wasting any time, he adjusted his shop's inventory. He started stocking cheaper, everyday items and even created a small discount corner where customers could find products at lower prices. John realized that resilience isn't just about being patient, it's also about being flexible enough to adapt to new situations and make changes when needed. But the challenges didn't stop there. A few weeks later, a large store opened nearby with a grand launch. It was bigger, more organized, and offered products at cheaper rates than John's shop. As expected, even fewer customers started visiting his shop. This time, John felt a wave of anxiety. Can I really save my shop? He wondered. But then, he remembered a lesson from the book. Leaders who build their capacity to endure tough times inspire others to face challenges too. He told himself, if I give up, what will others learn from me? Gathering his thoughts, he realized that the customers who still came to his shop were drawn to his friendly conversations and personal touch. He thought, maybe I don't have the facilities that the big store has, but I can build a personal connection with my customers. John adopted a new approach. He started putting extra effort into every customer interaction. If someone had trouble carrying their bags, he would personally help them. He even created a small candy corner for kids, which made families feel welcome. Gradually, the hustle and bustle returned to his shop. Amidst all this, John learned another valuable lesson. He sought advice from a friend who was active on social media. His friend taught him how to promote his shop online. John started simple promotional campaigns, which brought back old customers and attracted new ones. Through all these efforts, John realized that resilience isn't about taking giant leaps. It's about making small, consistent changes and never giving up. One day, while sitting in his shop, an old customer said, "There's something special about your shop. It feels like someone genuinely understands us here." Hearing this, John smiled. He felt like his resilience was paying off. But it wasn't always easy. There were days when he had to motivate himself. Sometimes, exhaustion took over, and doubts crept in. Am I really doing the right thing? But every time, he remembered the lesson from his book. The real strength lies in bouncing back after setbacks. Another thing that helped him immensely was his network. He started reaching out to old friends and new connections. Someone taught him how to buy products in bulk, which reduced his costs. Someone else suggested promoting his shop at local events. He learned that resilience isn't just about fighting battles alone, it's also about seeking help and showing team spirit. Gradually, John's shop started to build a reputation. People began referring to it as the helpful shop. John laughed at the nickname, but deep down, he felt proud. He realized that he hadn't just transformed his shop, he had transformed himself. John knew his journey was far from over. Challenges would keep coming, but now he had learned how to be resilient. He understood that as long as he didn't give up on himself, no difficulty could stop him. That night, when he got home, he picked up the book again. He thought, if this lesson has been so impactful, what more could I learn from the next chapters? He realized it wasn't just a book anymore, it had become the key to transforming his life. John's shop was slowly thriving. The number of customers was increasing, and his hard work was paying off. Every day brought new challenges, but John had learned from the book to stay calm and adaptable. By now, he had figured out many things, but he sensed that a new problem was quietly emerging. He had recently hired 2 people to help him at the shop. John and David were both hardworking, but sometimes John felt that their dedication wasn't as strong as it should be. David often arrived late, and John noticed that Mike would put off small tasks. A couple of times, John scolded them, but it didn't make much of a difference. He was confused about what to do next. One night, sitting in his room, he opened the next chapter of his book, Lead by Example. It said that a good leader is someone who inspires others through their own actions and behavior. If you want your team to embrace values like integrity, accountability, and hard work, you need to live by those values yourself. John closed the book and thought deeply. He realized that maybe he hadn't set the right example for his team to follow. He thought, if I want David and Mike to be punctual, I need to be more punctual myself. If I want them to take their work seriously, I have to show them how seriously I take mine. Starting the very next day, John began to change. He started arriving at the shop before the scheduled time and even began cleaning the shop himself. He noticed something interesting. As soon as he did this, David and Mike joined in without him having to say a word. One day, a customer complained that the product they had purchased was defective. Mike casually said, "Let's just ignore it, sir. The customer will come back anyway." But John calmly explained, "If we lose this customer's trust today, they might never come back. We need to admit our mistake and fix it right away." He apologized to the customer, replaced the defective item, and even offered a small discount. Seeing this, Mike realized how much John genuinely respected his customers. Gradually, Mike adopted the same attitude. He started treating customers more politely and listening to their needs carefully. But the biggest change was in David. David had a habit of procrastinating. One day, John noticed David had left an important task incomplete. Instead of saying anything, John quietly picked it up and started doing it himself. Watching this, David felt embarrassed. He immediately stepped in and said, "Sir, please leave it. I'll do it." From that day on, David never gave John a reason to complain. He started arriving on time and showed much more seriousness in his work. John realized that when he displayed integrity and dedication in everything he did, his team naturally adopted the same attitude. He understood that the greatest quality of a leader is to teach through actions, not just words. Another lesson John learned from the book was about accountability. One day, while counting the cash at the shop, he found that some money was missing. At first, he thought it must be someone's mistake. But then he asked himself, have I been paying close attention during the daily counts? He realized that somewhere, he too was partly responsible for the error. John called David and Mike and said, "Maybe this mistake is partly mine because I didn't handle this responsibility properly. But from now on, we'll count the money together every day to avoid such issues." This honesty strengthened his bond with his team. Slowly, John's shop became more than just a shop. It turned into a place where everyone understood the importance of teamwork and dedication. John's leadership didn't just impact his team, it started affecting his customers too. Now, customers didn't just come to buy products, they came to seek advice and experience his positive attitude. One day, an elderly customer told John, "Son, your shop isn't just a place to buy things. Every time I come here, I feel like I learn something new. The way you manage your employees is truly admirable." Hearing this, John realized that the lead by example lesson had become an integral part of his life. He understood that a leader's job isn't just to give directions, it's to live by their values every single day. That's what real leadership is. Now, John worked alongside his team daily, setting aside time to teach them new things. He also taught them that making mistakes isn't wrong, but hiding them and not trying to improve is. John was proud that his shop wasn't just a result of his hard work, but also a place where everyone was learning something valuable. He realized that a leader's true job is to inspire others through their actions and help shape their mindset for the better. But John knew the journey was far from over. So he decided to open the next chapter of the book, because he knew there was still more to learn. John's shop had now become a trusted place in the entire neighborhood. His hard work and lead-by-example approach had not only transformed his team, but had also won the hearts of his customers. Every day he tried to learn and improve something new, not just about the shop, but about his behavior as well. But until challenges arise, no leader is truly tested. One day, John received a call from his supplier. The supplier informed him that the prices of the goods he had been buying at a low wholesale rate would increase next month. This was a big shock for John. If he bought the same goods at higher prices, he would have to sell them at a higher price to his customers, which might lead them to shop elsewhere. As he sat there thinking about the problem, his eyes fell on the book again. He picked it up and started reading the next chapter, Strategic Decision-Making. It said that a good leader's greatest strength is making thoughtful decisions in difficult situations. To do this, it's crucial to understand the problem deeply, weigh all the options carefully, and choose the one that is best in the long run. John decided to first thoroughly understand the problem. He took a page and started writing everything down about the situation. He noted that if the prices of goods increased, his costs would go up. If he sold at the same price, he would incur a loss. But if he raised the prices, customers might get upset. Next, he started considering possible solutions. The first option was to continue buying from his old supplier, even if the prices were going up. The second option was to find a new supplier who might offer a better deal. The third option was to offer value-added services to customers, like loyalty cards or small discounts, so they would continue shopping at his store even with higher prices. John started weighing the pros and cons of each option. Buying from the old supplier would mean he would stay safe, but his profits would shrink. Finding a new supplier would mean doing research and taking some risks. Offering loyalty programs would require him to revisit his expenses and plans. Over the next few days, John worked on these options. He spoke to new suppliers in his area and got information about their rates. One supplier agreed to offer cheaper goods, but the delivery time was longer. John also realized that by starting a loyalty program, he could keep customers engaged with his shop for a longer time. He decided to make a balanced decision. He would buy some essential goods from the old supplier, but order the rest from the new supplier. At the same time, he would launch a loyalty program where customers would earn points with each purchase, which could be used for discounts in the future. Implementing this plan wasn't easy. He had to train his staff on how to explain the loyalty program to customers. He also had to reorganize his accounts to manage the expenses from the new supplier. But once the plan was in place, John started seeing the results slowly. Customers were happy with the loyalty program because they felt that John cared about them. The delivery from the new supplier took some time, but it was worth the savings, and he maintained his relationship with the old supplier, which gave him support during critical times. This entire process taught John that strategic decision-making isn't about making quick decisions. It's about considering every aspect, understanding the risks, and then choosing the option that provides the best solution to the problem. One day, David asked John, "How did you manage all of this? We thought the shop was going to go downhill." John smiled and said, "Remember when I told you that it's important to correct mistakes? The same thing applies to decisions. If you make decisions carefully, challenges don't seem as big." John started teaching his team the basics of strategic decision-making. He gave David and Mike small responsibilities and told them to make decisions related to their work on their own. Not only did this increase their sense of responsibility, but it also made them more confident. Gradually, a new energy began to fill John's shop. It wasn't just a place to sell goods anymore, it had become a place where everyone learned from each other. And that was because of John's strategic thinking, which turned every challenge into an opportunity. John now realized that he was not just a shopkeeper. He was a leader who could make the right decisions for his team and customers. He decided to open the next chapter of the book because he was sure that the lessons ahead would make his life even better. John's shop had now established its place in the neighborhood. Along with facing new challenges every day, he had not only understood the importance of strategic decision-making, but had also taught his team about it. But John was always thinking about how he could make his shop even better. One night, as he was relaxing in his room, his eyes fell on the book again. He thought, "Let me see what new I can learn now." He opened the next chapter. A growth mindset is necessary to learn anything. The chapter said that a leader should always believe that challenges are an opportunity to expand our capabilities, not a way to show our weaknesses. John really liked reading this. He realized that people often get scared when they see problems, whereas they should try to learn from them. He thought that if he could develop this mindset in himself and his team, his shop could move forward even faster. The next day, he called a meeting with his team. He said to David and Mike, "We've learned a lot in the last few months, but now it's time to think bigger. To improve our shop, we need to learn from our mistakes and see every challenge as an opportunity." David asked, "But how will we do that?" John smiled and said, "For this, we first need to change our mindset. We need to believe that every mistake is there to teach us something new, and every challenge gives us a chance to get better." To prove his point, John shared a story. He told them that when he first started his shop, he made many mistakes. He bought the wrong products, didn't take some customer complaints seriously, and often didn't keep track of the money properly. But every mistake taught him what he needed to improve. If he had closed the shop out of fear of those mistakes, he wouldn't be here today. David and Mike listened carefully to his words. John noticed that it would take some time for them to adopt this way of thinking, but he had decided that he would develop a growth mindset in his team. John started a new initiative. He began holding a small discussion session with his team every week where they would talk about any mistakes or challenges faced in the shop. But the goal of these sessions wasn't to blame anyone for the mistake, it was to understand what could be learned from it. Once, Mike accidentally gave the wrong product to a customer, and the customer got really upset. At first, Mike was scared that John would scold him, but when he brought it up in the session, John said, "This mistake is a lesson for all of us. Now, let's think about what we can do to make sure this doesn't happen again." David suggested that they double-check the products during billing. Everyone agreed, and they included it in their daily routine. Slowly, John saw that his team wasn't just accepting their mistakes, they were also learning from them. He was happy to see that now, they viewed every problem as a challenge that could be solved together. Another big challenge came when a new store opened in the neighborhood. This store was not only bigger, but also running several schemes. John's team thought it would affect their business, but John saw the situation from a different perspective. He said to his team, "This is an opportunity for us to learn. We need to understand what they're doing to attract customers, and then offer even better service to our customers." John personally visited that shop to observe. He saw that they had a membership program for customers. He discussed this with his team and decided that they would also start a membership program, offering special offers every month. This initiative took John's shop to the next level. Customers began to feel that John's shop was always thinking about their needs. But for John, the real victory was that his team had learned how to turn challenges into opportunities. Now, David and Mike also started coming up with new ideas. One day, David suggested they promote their products on social media. Initially, John thought it was a bit strange, but then he thought, what's the harm in trying? They gave it a shot, and within a few weeks, there was a lot of buzz on their shop's social media page. John was proud to see that his team was not only learning to handle challenges, but also actively looking for new opportunities. He understood that the real meaning of a growth mindset was this: you believe that there is always room to learn and improve in any situation. One day, when there was some downtime at the shop, John said to his team, "Look, we've all worked together to bring this shop this far, and that's only because we don't fear our mistakes, we learn from them. If we continue this way, one day our shop will be famous all over the city." David and Mike smiled and agreed. Now, every day they were trying to expand their thinking. That night, when John opened the next page of his book, he realized that this book was not just a collection of words. It had become the guide for his life, making him a better person and a leader. He had decided that he would apply every lesson in his life and continue turning every challenge into a new opportunity with his team. John's shop had now become a model in the neighborhood. His hard work, the art of making the right decisions, and the passion for turning every challenge into an opportunity had laid the foundation for his success. His team was now not just performing better, but also trying to learn something new every day. But life always brings new challenges. One day, a big retail chain announced the opening of a branch in the area. This shop was several times bigger than John's, and they were offering massive discounts on products. David and Mike became worried. They said to John, "By now our shop might go out of business. How can we compete with such a big brand?" John calmed them down. He remembered all the lessons from his book: mental preparation, resilience, leading by example, strategic decision-making, and adopting a growth mindset. He understood that this challenge was also an opportunity. He said to his team, "We have something they don't have, our customers' trust. We need to strengthen that trust. We need to show them that we don't just sell products, but we understand and care for their needs. John devised a new strategy. He focused on building personal connections with his customers. Talking to every customer, understanding their needs, and making them feel special became part of his strategy. He introduced Customer Appreciation Day at his shop, where every month, customers received special offers and gifts. Along with this, he focused on strengthening his team. He taught David and Mike how to communicate with customers and help solve their problems. He also made his social media page more active, where he directly engaged with customers. Slowly, customers began to feel that John's shop wasn't just a place to shop. It was a place where they felt trust and a sense of belonging. While the big retail chain offered huge discounts, it was John's shop's loyalty and personal service that kept customers coming back. With his team, John overcame every challenge. Now David and Mike were no longer just employees. They started thinking like John. They saw every problem as an opportunity and came up with new ideas to solve them. A few months later, John decided to open another branch near his shop. This was his biggest dream, which he fulfilled through hard work, patience, and the right mindset. At the end, as John placed the book in his shelf, he smiled and said, "This wasn't just a book. It was a mentor that taught me how to improve myself." Now his shop was not just a business, but a place for learning and growth where everyone was trying to become better. John's story was proof that with the right mindset, patience, and determination, no challenge is too big. He not only inspired himself but also his team and his customers, taking his shop to new heights of success. From the book Leader's Mindset, John learned that to be a leader, one needs mental preparation, resilience, leading by example, strategic decision-making, and a growth mindset. 1. Mental preparation. John learned to solve his challenges in a planned way and imagine success. 2. Resilience. He learned not to fear failures but to learn from them and move forward. 3. Lead by example. John set an example of honesty and hard work to inspire his team. 4. Strategic decision-making. He developed the art of analyzing problems deeply and making wise decisions. 5. Growth mindset. John focused on turning every challenge into an opportunity to learn and improve. By adopting all these lessons, John not only made his shop successful but also built strong relationships with his team and customers, which became the foundation of his success. So friends, this was today's book summary. How did you like it? Do let me know in the comments, and thank you for listening till the end.